between. That ing you get when you're pressing play, binging and blockbustering. The ing you get when you're DSTVing.
Now that's a way to make an entrance.
Get that ing with all sorts of packages to match your with DSTV.
On social media, like our Facebook page, Oblate Radio Liseli, and get updated with the latest news and current affairs. Oblate Radio Liseli, spreading the light of Christ.
Read it tomorrow, watch it in the evening, and hear it now on Oblate Radio.
Good afternoon and welcome to you who are listening to Oblate Radio Liseli and those watching us on our Facebook page. With the main news, I am Priska Siamfumba. Coming up in the news. Cash for work beneficiaries urged to report delayed payments. Expectant mothers urged to avoid herbal medicines. Government considers new law to punish child defilers with chemical castration and harsh penalties for women. And these and many other stories, but first we hear from the church. Pope Leo XIV has expressed his profound sorrow upon learning of the loss of life and injuries following the shooting that took place at Annunciation Church in Minneapolis, Minnesota in the U.S. In a telegram sent to Archbishop Bernard Heder of Minneapolis, the Pope expressed his heartfelt condolences in the assurance of spiritual closeness to all those affected by this terrible tragedy, especially the families now grieving the loss of a child. The telegram, signed by Cardinal Pietro Parolin, ex-Secretary of State, says the Pope commends the souls of the deceased children to the love of Almighty God and prays for the wounded as well as the first responders, medical personnel and clergy who are caring for them and their loved ones. As a pledge of peace, fortitude and consolation in the Lord Jesus, Pope Leo imparted his apostolic blessing upon the Annunciation Catholic School community, the Archdiocese of St. Paul and Minneapolis, and the people of the Greater Twin Cities metropolitan area. Western Province Labor and Social Security Principal Officer Davis Sianga has urged people engaged on the Cash for Work program to visit his office and report the delayed payments by the local councils. Speaking to Oblate Radio Liseli News, Mr. Sianga disclosed that the employment code mandates employers to pay workers immediately the work is done. Mr. Sianga states that the funds must be readily available once the workers are engaged and no delays should be encountered when it comes to paying them.
Employment code number 3 of 2019, they're supposed to be paid immediately they finish the work. Maybe 2 days or 3 days after the work. That would be the appropriate way of paying. But to my view, because that is piecework they do, money should be readily available in the hands when somebody starts working and when somebody finishes there and then. Instead of going through the procedures and the processes, it should be processed before engaging people, because that's where there is a problem. We find that some people can engage the workers to do the piecework, then after they have finished, that's when they start the process. So that delays the whole thing. But if the processes can be done before people are engaged to start working, then everything will be fast and smooth. They can come and notify us of the delayment in payment, and we can pick it up like we have always done, query the paying office as to why they are not paying according to the law, in that they are delaying payments.
His response comes in the wake of the many cash for work beneficiaries raising concerns about some local councils delaying paying them their dues after completing the work. Nakanya Development Committee WDC chairperson in Nalikwanda constituents, Muyunda Mundia, has expressed gratitude to government through the local authority for the developmental projects taking place in that area. Mr. Mundia tells Oblate Radio Liseli News in a phone-in interview that Samalanda community has received 2 new hand pumps which are already helping people in the area to access clean and safe water. He explains that for a long time people in that area had challenges in finding clean water and many were depending on unsafe sources. He also revealed that Lifuti Community School in that ward, which residents have been asking government to rehabilitate for some years, is now set to be completed in September this year using the Constituents Development Fund CDF.
Lipompi kwa Samalanda balufire lipompi lepe banomezi kwani banomezi amwa michoko kona ya abasona kuli utata budama ufera hanyanya mugende wakubera mezi wezo ki CDF antikale mwande kulikia silimo sesweleka kwa kise ni chako nokona etazoba mwedisa kwani kweli batuge banomezi wale kiye mibeli cha kwa kama kero bilanga kalifu kulia tuanzetera abantu ati contractor natire mali na konsa kuli mu September motoka lako ya hachwa ni bati ubona kuli butataho babo.
And in a related development from Nakanya Ward Development Committee WDC chairperson in Nalikwanda constituents, Muyunda Mundia, states that people in the ward have started preparing for this year's farming season. He has, however, expressed concern over the outbreak of cattle disease in some parts of the ward. He says livestock is very important to the people as it helps them with farming activities and also provides food and income. He has therefore called on the veterinary office in the province to quickly look into the matter.
Ninyewa fiada kuli batu bakalire ngimo za kufetula mama bala kuli babeli pe omwambu budani takwitandira limboni twakulima kona kuli abasalimi bupiro kwatatafala kwaluna batu bamama hai kona kuli bene bakolisize kilabu kafya zeteni isa nyenda kwa office ya agriculture na kwani seli 2-3 years hande nikuna kulia muso balutali mevateni profile fertilizer abantu baba group alana evide kuingolisa ikwisa mashiringi abo nalikazi yopalera mu office luli kubona babeleki babaswana yakulutusa nongosi yoki yetu na luli alikono rubilala wabe trainer likambe abate nkwanuka kuli kuna niliko mze ziele ile kwa kakusi kwa mane ni kwa Samalanda aliko mzishwa hulu kweza kuli batu abazibi makutabera lindonga hape abazibi ni muliani woswanela kona kuli wabe trainer likambe
And efforts to get a comment from the Provincial Veterinary Office by President proved futile as the mobile phone for the Provincial Veterinary Officer Dr. Stephen Tembo was unreachable. Government has constructed a new maternity annex at Lukena Rural Health Center in Kalago District under the Constituents Development Fund CDF. The project will help expecting mothers to access the facility within their geographical proximity and reduce the long-distance challenges residents were facing to access such services. The project was constructed at a total cost of over 230 12,000 kwacha. Government has further started rehabilitation works on the same Lukena Rural Health Post at a total cost of over 308,000 kwacha CDF, and this is the first time the facility is getting a facelift since its official opening in 1986. And this is contained in a statement issued to Oblate Radio Liseli News by Kalabo Town Council Public Relations Unit. Journalists in Western Province have expressed gratitude to IPAS and its partners for organizing a media sensitization workshop on sexual reproductive health rights, which ran from 25th to 27th August 2025 at Dolphin Lodge in Mongo. Speaking after the workshop, the media practitioners said that the training has enhanced their knowledge on key SRHR issues and the role of the media in advocating for the rights of women and adolescents. They note that the workshop has strengthened their capacity to report more accurately and responsibly on sensitive health matters that directly affect communities, which bridges the gap between the health expertise and journalists in ensuring that the public is better informed.
First of all, I'd like to thank IPAS and PPAZ for this opportunity to learn about SRHR and the importance, really. Generally, I'm just very glad that I've learned a lot.
The numbers of underage pregnancies are skyrocketing, and one of the reasons is because probably these little ones are not aware. And after having this workshop which we had, I should make mention that we're working hand in hand with our quota, and even before we come up with whatever programs, we get to them to let them know that the beauty of this particular program is to see to it that the numbers with regards to underage pregnancies are reducing. How are these numbers going to reduce? By having programs on radio that will create awareness, as it were. And so we are glad that we came for this particular meeting, and we are hoping that in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 months there will be some change as far as the behavior change is concerned.
Meanwhile, IPAS policy advisor Timothy Banda reaffirmed their commitment to working with the media, traditional and religious leaders.
Workshop basically to equip and facilitate local journalists so that we address together the gap of access to a sexual and reproductive health rights among mostly the marginalized and sidelines communities in the province. So one of the key things we want to be as an outcome of the workshop is for our trained journalists to be our partners in terms of being voices in advocating and addressing the barriers in accessing health information. We all are seeing the statistics of the ever-rising cases of GBV, teenage pregnancies and early marriages. So these are some of the things we hope at the end of the workshop our trained journalists to be able to bring up, together working with the religious leaders, traditional leaders, community leaders, the women and girls themselves, media houses at all levels.
The workshop, organized by IPAS, was aimed at equipping the media with knowledge and skills to accurately report and raise awareness on issues relating to SRHR, and the project is being implemented in Mwandi, Nalolo, Sasheke, Shangombo, and Sioma districts. Lewanika General Hospital resident doctor has called on pregnant women to desist from using herbal concoctions during pregnancy that quickens delivery. Speaking on Morning Light Breakfast Show, Dr. William Kapalu notes that using herbals can lead to complications such as excessive bleeding or loss of both the mother and the unborn child. Dr. Kapalu also emphasized that antenatal services provided at health facilities are designed to monitor the growth of the baby, manage health conditions early, and prepare mothers for safe delivery. He noted that antenatal services also provide vital supplements, immunizations, and counseling services that contribute to safe motherhood and reduce maternal death.
Muske mwafa basadi mujani wasindu kukwalula nzira. Mujani wasindu kukwalula nzira unani maside effect ya manga ataka na kulijingani kushwa kwa msizani ni mbututu yo. Lwakupa basadi kawafila wana babenda ni mudwalu. Bana yanga kwa antenatal wakona kweza detect matuku ya bakula ni kuba treatinga. before asikata kwa complication anapewa tanga sababu na mulwala washanga pale wanika mkafumana kwanti neto asikaya kwa teni kuya kwa teni unani matuku yazeli to death that could have been prevented. Antinen akimu season feda ni bana bakupa mwezi encourage basali bamina nkuba sindeketa antineto akimu sali feda mapanga kwa teni nako even one antineto visit mwani baba sali bonani muni mulwala mutea bileni Caesar before even cesarean section alukane kukala kunyapisa kwandu especially eba mbeni ma cesarean section ya mabeli before third kuna kwa cesarean section anga kala kunyapisa kwandu zwalo yako na kuwezani kupasua mwako na kushwa ni mtoto yako na kushwa so wale babile Caesar before msakala kunyapisa mbona ya fit at 8 weeks at 7 at 8 weeks mwamati kwa spatila baweza plan delivery amino.
The World Health Organization Regional Office for Africa has highlighted the critical need to strengthen Africa's health workforce to respond effectively to emergencies and build high-quality health care systems across the continent. Speaking at a side event during the 75th session of the WHO Regional Committee, WHO Regional Director for Emergency Preparedness and Response, Abdul Salam Goye, emphasized that African countries must adopt a holistic approach to ensure rapid and efficient responses to disease outbreaks and health crises. Dr. Salam stressed the importance of harmonizing the movement of health personnel across African countries to enhance health system reliance. In response, Nigerian Acting High Commissioner to Zambia, Chinyere Epele, shared Nigeria's initiatives to strengthen the regional health workforce, emphasizing that advancing capacity building for all African health personnel is both essential and achievable. The three-day 75th WHO Regional Committee session held under the theme Building a Healthier Africa Together and officially opened by President Hakainde Hichilema concluded yesterday. Community Development and Social Services Minister Doreen Mwamba has disclosed that plans to implement a law providing for chemical castration for men and punitive measures for women involved in child defilement and incest. Ms. Mwamba says the law, which aims to curb rising cases of these vices, is expected to come into effect before the end of the year. She has told Phoenix News that this is part of a broader push to protect children and strengthen penalties for sexual offenses, stressing that community reporting and victim support will be central to the ministry's approach. The minister has pointed to recent reforms, including the Children's Court Act and the establishment of child-friendly courtrooms and foundations for tougher enforcement and faster prosecution. Ms. Mwamba has emphasized that plans to pursue legislative amendments to criminal law to make certain defilement offenses non-bayable and introduce harsher sanctions for perpetrators, such as Ms. Mwamba has emphasized that plans to pursue legislative amendments to criminal law to make certain defilement offenses non-bayable and introduce harsher sanctions. She has assured that at the end of her tenure as Community Development Minister, Zambia will be sensitized through inculcation of morals that reflect Zambia's Christian nation status. And that item brings us to the end of the main news, but before we go, here is a recap of the headlines. Cash for work beneficiaries urged to report delayed payments. Expectant mothers urged to avoid herbal medicines. And government considers new law to punish child defilers with chemical castration and harsh penalties for women. And that ends the main news. If you want to share news or comment on our stories, you can call or WhatsApp on the number 0955-221641. I am Priska Siamfumba. Oblate, Radio Liseli, spreading the light of Christ. Good afternoon.